Welcome back, everybody. Didn't see you all last week. I was busy up on my roof fixing shingles, so I didn't get any fun tractor time last weekend. The only thing I got done last weekend, last Friday, I went down to Minot and picked up my front cover from the machine shop, Hamilton uh, Motorsports and Machine. He got the seal surface bored out here. So then I can put my new seal in there. So that'll get pressed in like so. So that should be good. I ordered up a China Freight special bearing and seal driver kit to put that in and just to have on hand because I didn't have one of those kits. So that should be pretty handy. I already was dry fitting this front cover onto the engine to make sure that it came out concentric with the seal surface, which it did. It does. I tuned up a couple more holes in that front casting so everything lines up nicely, so that should all be good to go. So I'm pretty close to committing to, once I make some new gaskets, I think we could commit to putting the pan onto the block at this point. And I'm just about ready to commit to putting the front cover onto this assembly. I snugged down the seal surface, so that's tight. I've been working on timing things, trying to figure out what's what there. So right now, my two little paint marks, the engine is at top dead center compression of number 1. The timing marks that are actually on the gears don't really help with anything as far as that. They don't line up like a top dead center or bottom dead center or anything helpful. Just as a note, the keyway, when it's on top dead center, is pointing up. Originally on this engine it was actually pointing down, but the new keyway is up because we put a new keyway in when Norm remachined this. I had the head off to confirm all that, and it is actually at top dead center, number 1, compression. The timing mark on the flywheel here confirms that. The top of the mark is at the top here. So everything agrees that that's actually top dead center, so that's good to know. What I've been trying to figure out is exactly how I want to proceed with putting the governor onto the engine as far as timing marks go. Do I go by their timing marks, or do I just... Well, right now what I'm leaning towards doing is just having everything at top dead center. Just do it the old school way, basically. Have everything at top dead center. Put the governor in at whatever orientation I want it to be in for it to trip the magneto accordingly. Because that's really what matters, that this engage and trip when it is supposed to. And another reason I hesitate to go by the timing gears is because it looks like between the different governors, they're not even exactly the same. So just to show you, okay, so like on this one, the timing gear mark is there. And if I put it the same way, let's see, where's the timing mark on this gear? Can't even see it at the moment. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay, so if I put the assembly in roughly the same orientation on the front here with the timing mark, the tangs. Oh, let's see if I can do this with one hand. the tangs are in different orientations. I don't know if that's going to show up on camera or not, but just trust me that they don't seem to be exactly the same. So I'm wondering if different applications had different things. And Norman's actually going to be sending me the governor and stuff that was actually on this engine block, so I could potentially use that actual timing gear with this governor, possibly. So that way I'm putting timing gears back together that were originally together. You know, they're worn together, so I feel more comfortable using, as long as it's in good shape, use the actual governor gear that was in this engine, keep it with this engine, as opposed to using one of these other ones. I'm sure it would be fine, but if that gear looks the same and everything, I'll probably go that route. Kind of going in circles here, but basically what I was getting at is I think I'll just put it all together, put that governor in whatever orientation it needs to be to get that tang wherever it needs to be, to tie in the magneto where it needs to be. Simple as that, really. And I'll probably actually make some marks, because okay, right now with the timing markers on the top, well, when this is actually in the tractor, you can't see that because it's way up on top side here. You can't see that. All you can see is the side of the flywheel here. So what I'm probably going to end up doing is making some of my own marks. Say, make a mark with it at top dead center, make a mark that, say, lines up with this bolt here, so that when it's in the tractor I can tell when it's truly at top dead center on compression and everything, besides going by the keyway in the front, which once the pulley is on, unless I mark the pulley accordingly, I'm not going to be able to see that keyway anymore. So a lot of things to think about and figure out here, but I think I'm on the right track. Talked to Norm, like I said, yesterday, and he has got my clutch disc back. He is just about done machining the front pulley. So once he's done with that, he's going to box up that, the clutch disc, the governor, the oil pickup assembly, and a couple other little things, some bolts, and there's something else I can't think of it at the moment, but there's a few things he's going to box up and ship to me so I can have all that stuff on hand to continue on with the project here. Oh, the fan assembly. There was a busted up fan assembly on that engine. I don't know if it's any better or usable than what I have, but potentially. So on to fan assembly. So I found, I think I mentioned last video, I found a source for some Hyatt roller bearings just by dumb luck looking on eBay. They came in a pack of 2, so these are those ones. So I ordered them, got them. These are just, I'm assuming, some Chinese ones or whatever. I think they're for some like lawnmower wheel application, because the company seems to focus on lawnmower stuff. But anyway, it was the right size for this, so I ordered some. Well, in the process of looking for that inner race, or the outer race, for the bearing, because that didn't come with these, it was just the bearing, I ended up finding another source of an actual company that's what they specialize in, is Hyatt bearings and the sleeve races and like felt seals and leather seals, and they specialize in obsolete stuff like that to keep obsolete old antique machinery running. So I got a actual USA Hyatt roller bearing coming, and that outer race coming. So that's pretty exciting. So I should be able to put this all back as original then. And even just this Chinese one without a new race, this is still just the old race in there, spins considerably better than the old bearing. I mean, it would almost probably work the way it is. There's still some play, but I'm hoping maybe with the new outer race that'll improve upon that a little bit. And I'll probably just go with that for now. If I need to revisit this down the road, I will, but I think for now I'm just going to call that okay. You know, the shaft is a little pitted, but I think we're just going to let that ride. Just make sure that I keep this full of fresh oil and keep an eye on it, not have the belt tension too tightly. And I think we'll just go with that, like I said, at least for now. Working on, as soon as I get that front pulley back from Norm, I can put this all together and get an accurate measurement of what the belt length is going to be. And get that project going, get a belt made up. Because I don't want to go by, I got like, I think I showed you that Gates belt and reference book, let's call it. But I don't want to necessarily go by that measurement until I confirm it with my actual tractor, because there's at least 2 different fan hub assemblies for these 612s. There's the kind I got and the other kind that you see a little more commonly, I'd say. And I don't know for sure if those pulleys are exactly the same. My front pulley obviously would be brand new, so I don't know if it's going to be exactly what the originals were as far as size goes, because it's a new casting and whatnot. So the length of my belt, I'm getting at, it could be slightly different than what was original, and I'll just make it fit accordingly, of course. I also, this morning, I did a bunch of sandblasting. I got all the bolts and hardware for the segment gears blasted up. And I got half of one wheel's worth of lugs blasted. I think I'm going to take the grinder to some of the backside of some of these. Got that real hard rust like what we had on the wheels when we cleaned them up. Take the grinder to some of that and then maybe blast them again to try to clean them up as best I can. But they're looking a whole lot better than what they were. What else do I know? I think that's about it for now. So I think I got to go run to the dump now. I got my truck full of shingles. And they're going to open up here shortly, so I got to go empty that out. And I don't know if I'll be back out then after a little supper or not. But if not, tomorrow we'll come out, and I think maybe what we'll focus on is cutting some gaskets possibly. Start committing to putting a few things together here for sure. Got some other great news. David Dickmeyer located an original breather pipe cap here for me. He's going to mail that out to me. So that's awesome. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. What else? I think that's about it. I think I got you guys caught up. But yeah, we're slowly making progress. It's going in the right direction. Just taking a long time. I don't know if I'm going to have this ready for Hutch or not. Every week I get a little less optimistic about making that deadline. It's only about 10 weeks away at this point, and there's a lot to do here yet, but we'll see. We'll just keep plugging away at it. So switching gears, working on this fan hub a little bit. Came up with a quick little jig here. I want to dress the ends of these blades a little bit because they ran into fan shroud or whatever, so they're all ugly on the ends. So I want to trim them down just a little bit, right? Keep them all the same, clean them up. So I came up with this little jig. So this references it to keep it square to the sander this way, and then I'll just slowly sand it down until they clean up. And then I got another clamp as a stop to the hub to keep them all the same depth. So that should keep them pretty concentric and round. So we'll see how well this works. Then I'll sandblast up this fan blade if it all works out good. Yeah, it worked really well. I had to put a little bit of support underneath the blade so they wouldn't vibrated as I started sanding them, you know, as a support. But yeah, they're all cleaned up now, all the same length. Just gotta put the little bit of a radius back on each of these corners and sandblast her up. Last night I finished up the fan blade, got that all sandblasted, so that's good as new. Sandblasted up a few more lugs, so we're making progress on that. Let's see what else we can get done here today. Oh, I'm having a hard time focusing here today. Kind of jumping around, working on figuring out if this should be a bolt or a stud to hold the lower water elbow on the block. Right now it's sounding like probably a stud. I got all these studs out for the top water neck. Chased all those threads, a couple of new heavy hex nuts for that. I cleaned up this front crank claw. There was all kinds of burrs where somebody had put it on with a cold chisel instead of putting a wrench on it. So it was all chewed up in 4 places where they were hitting it with a chisel to tighten it or loosen it or whatever. Got that all doctored up, so that's pretty decent. Like I said, I was going to work on some gaskets today and get that going, but I think I'm actually going to go back to Governor project a little bit, because I got to thinking, you know, I got this one pretty significantly worn part here. I think what I'm going to do is crack open one of my spare governors and then see if by chance there's a one in better shape in that one and or that one, to decide what I'm going to have to do to fix that problem. If I got a better one, I'll just swap it out, but if not, we'll have to get that project going too. Like I said before, between that and a couple new pins, I think we're pretty much good to go on the governor. Once we figure out how to take this apart and then, you know, clean it up, should be pretty much good to go. So, like I said, I think I'll go crack this one open now, see if I can get it apart. So earlier I did get these are all the oil pan bolts chased. So I just run them through the sandblaster and those will be ready to go. Okay, so governor. So I took apart one of my spare governors, and it is different. The internals are similar but different. See, this one has the brass yoke or bronze, whatever it is. This one actually has a steel, and there's actually a bearing between. So it's a little bit different design, so you can't just swap it one for one. You'd have to probably swap the whole assembly. And then looking at it further, I think the only reason this is worn the way it is probably just the way these ears on this fork are. So I think I'll probably just leave well enough alone here. Clean everything up. Probably renew these 2 pins where they're worn, because that's easy enough to do. And potentially, like I said, put the other gear on here from Norm's, and probably just call it good. Oh, working a double shift here today. Came up after supper and did some sandblasting. Got the exhaust manifold blasted up, so that's good to go. The oil pan bolts, so those are good to go. A couple more lugs. Governor housings. I did plug and duct tape off where the Babbitt bearings are in there, so I wouldn't hit that. Keep them safe. And then the important governor internal parts there too. I didn't take all the other machine parts because there's no need for sandblasting them. A little bit of light parts cleaning and those will be good to go. I didn't want to mess up all the precision machine surfaces and whatnot. So I think that'll do it for this week. I hope to see you all next week. Later.